Welcome to Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and I just saw Spiral, the Book of Saw, starring Chris Rock. Now, look, I should say before I even get into my review of this film, I'm not a huge fan of the Saw movies. I really like the first one. I think it's really clever. And the second, third one, you know, were sort of fun to continue the sort of idea. But the films got just more and more ridiculous. The fact that Jigsaw had these tapes and people copying and all of this planning so far in advance just started getting a little too much for me. So I lost interest in this sort of franchise. So I was never really a huge fan, but I heard Chris Rock had this premise that he came to Lionsgate with and was like, hey, guys, I got this great idea for a new Saw. I want to do it. They sort of hyped it as like, yeah, Chris Rock came to us with a great idea. We were like, yes, let's try this. I got excited. I was like, all right, well, I like Chris Rock. Chris Rock's a really funny comedian. Seems like a creative guy. The fact that he had some sort of weird Saw pitch, I was like, all right, sign me up for this new vision of Saw. So I went in open-minded. While I'm not a huge fan of the Saw lore, I like Chris. I was going to give, everybody loves Chris. Come on, give him the benefit of the doubt. However, sadly, I really just didn't like this movie. Now, look, I'm not going to get into spoilers. I don't want to get too heavy into it because I want you guys to go and see it, and maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did. In fact, I hope you do. But just for out the gate, the aesthetic of the film, I just didn't like it. It follows a very similar look to the other Saw films. In fact, it's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who directed Saw 2, 3, and 4, I believe. And I think that was its biggest fault. While they brought Chris Rock to sort of change it up a little bit, I really wish they had brought a new director in, someone else to really sort of take a new look at the Saw movies instead of the same old grisly traps, rusted things. And I'm just like, still, who the hell has the time and the resources and the funding to put all this together? It's always so strange to me that continues through this as it did in the other movies. But look, I just think it has the same look and tone, but then they still have this aesthetic that feels like in the beginning, I thought it was like a flashback to like a period movie, and it turns out it wasn't. Everything about sort of the look and just nothing really worked for me. The traps this time around, they're gory. There's a couple fun, gory moments if you sort of find those moments fun. There's like 3 or 4 sort of trap moments that ultimately are okay. But overall, the biggest problem with this movie is honestly Chris Rock. Look, I like Chris Rock as a comedian. I'm a fan of his, but he's just so terribly miscast in this movie. And my buddy who I saw it with, Damien, that was the first thing we both said. We're just like, it was just so hard to believe him in the role. And I really wanted to try. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, I'm a fan of his, but he's playing the serious detective. And for me personally, it did not work. I couldn't take him seriously. And there's a few moments where he's trying to like do some Chris Rock shtick and some funny stuff. The opening of the film, he talks about sort of Forrest Gump. He does a whole riff on Forrest Gump. And, there's a couple moments you're like, cool, but it's never like laugh out loud funny Chris Rock. And then it's also like, just when he's doing his expressions, like, he gives looks throughout the whole movie to like try and like, and like every time he did it, I just was laughing like, come on, man, I just don't buy it. I know that's mean, but I've always had that problem with him. And in this movie especially, it was really hard to like buy his role as this detective and take it serious. It just didn't work. On top of that, Samuel Jackson, what can I say? Like, doesn't have a ton to do. And the rest of the cast, the detectives, everybody else, his partner, everyone else in the film, like no one really stands out. It's really Chris Rock's movie. And the premise is, what can I say? There's a new seemingly Jigsaw type killer who is targeting police officers. Is I guess is the plot. That's what I can sort of tell you. And so Chris Rock's detective sort of gets these boxes. You see them in the trailer, and is sort of trying to figure out what's happening, solve the mystery, catch the killer. And so, it's a lot of similar Saw type of things that I don't know what to tell you. It's hard to talk. So many elaborate, really clever pig puppets. Like, so much work to create those pig puppets. Why? Who set it all up and timed it? Oh my God, it's insane. Overall, like, you know, if in this moment, you're just like, he's seriously looking down. Like, it just, I had trouble buying Chris Rock, and I like Chris Rock. There's a lot to this film that I wanted to like. I tried to give it my positivity. I just couldn't get there. Spiral just spirals out of control in a way that I not only predictable, but not that exciting. We've seen these beats before. Chris Rock doesn't really bring anything new to the table, in my opinion. I don't know what he was thinking, to be perfectly honest. I don't know what either of them thinking. Paycheck, I guess. This is not a movie to bring all the people back to the theaters, in my opinion. Who knows? Maybe some people will enjoy it, but I guess it is like a Saw sequel. It really does feel like a generic Saw sequel to me. There was nothing new about it that surprised me. I laughed. There were a few moments where I did laugh. I'm just like, come on. But I guess I did that in the Saw sequels as well, to be fair. It's not like they were, you know, fantastic cinema. But overall, yeah, a criminal mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice in Spiral, the terrifying new chapter from the Book of Saw. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do more books or what this means, the Book of Saw. It's like they're trying to be like, you know, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. It's very strange. Yeah, it's underwhelming is all I can tell you, which I feel like I'm now repeating myself, but I'm trying not to spoil the plot. I don't know what else I can tell you. The film, they do a lot of like flashbacks and things, which Damien was reminding me, I guess they do in the Saw movies as well, but there's so much exposition to try and like help you understand all the backstory to sort of help justify what's going on and why people are in traps and everything else. And none of it helped me. It just sort of made it seem like, really? This is just kind of dumb. Who cares? Overall, the thing you want in these movies is the traps. And the opening is good. The opening's good. The first like trap is interesting. They do a thing with the tongue. That's gross. And there's some gore for sure. And then they do one with fingers, and they do one, with glass. It's pretty intense. Overall, as the kills go, even they were just like, meh. And the ending, I really didn't like the ending. But I won't. That's all I'll say about that. So, look, I'm going to set your expectations way lower, is my advice as you're going into Spiral. If you're a huge fan of these movies, maybe that'll help and you'll enjoy it. You'll come back and say, Andy, you were crazy. I had so much fun with this. I hope you do. Personally, I didn't. I do want to say, though, it was wonderful going back to the theaters, the studio through a critic screening, so there wasn't even a lot of us. Great way to see the film. It was wonderful to be back and support the movies. So in that regard, I say yay. But sadly, Spiral, boom, thumbs down for me. I got to give this one, I'd give this one like a D. Yeah. I'd give this one a D. But I'm curious if you guys check it out. What do you think? Are you still excited? Are you going to go check it out? Tell me down below. Let me know what you think of Spiral. Are you excited for it? Are you now nervous for it? Tell me what you think. Help the algorithm. Smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. Thanks for watching here on Movie World.